would like to start my talk off by just giving busting five myths about digital and social. The first myth is the size of digital. Yes, it's small, but it's growing extremely fast. So digital advertising is pegged at 35%, and digital as a space is growing. So if you see, television reaches about 510 million people through several homes, and this is our IRS figure that I gleaned from 2012-13. News of all kinds reaches 355 million people, and social and digital totally reaches about 205 million people now. And this is the latest IMI stats, and it's growing. Everybody knows digital and social is growing really, really fast. Out of this figure, almost 70% is social media, with Facebook inching towards 100 million active users in itself, right? One of the second myths is the digital audience is young and mostly male. You know, this has been a myth around for some time. This is how the audience beyond young male audiences is spread. So about 10% are working women, 11% are women who stay at home, and you know the photograph is a little slightly rural, but it's not rural. Women who stay at home, right? 11% are older men, and 12% are children or school-going and college-going kids, right? That you are looking at. So almost 45% of digital is non-young men, right? Other audiences, and you can just do the math with the earlier number, right? Digital audience is mostly urban, top 8 metros, that's where digital is, right? Again, not true. This is December 2013, 68 million users are in rural India, and 72 as of June 2014 estimated, right? So rural is also growing, and that's getting very interesting. Funnily enough, the access to digital in languages still remains 84% English. So people are actually consuming English content even though rural is growing so fast. Very, very interesting for this country. And it also comes from the fact that television, most of our programs are now largely English, right, in that context. Mobile internet usage is still small, as the image signifies, right? Not really. 85 million mobile internet users in urban and 25 million in rural. Just to give you one small anecdote, I keep coming to Delhi, though I'm based out of Bombay, and I have a fixed driver here in Delhi, right, for the last 5 years. A year and a half ago, he bought a smartphone. And very recently, about 2 months ago when I was with him, he was telling me as to how he's following Aam Aadmi Party on Facebook and commenting on each of their posts, and how he's on WhatsApp as well, forwarding their posts. The point that I'm trying to make is he is also on social media, and I was very curious asking him what all he does, right? So that's just an insight into how low-cost smartphone mobility is changing the dynamics of where and how media is consumed in what SACs as well. Internet users doesn't mean time spent online, right? So active users doesn't mean that people are actually spending time, because 9 to 11 people are watching television programs, they don't have the time, you're there, you just check email, you get out. 3 hours 24 minutes average time, right? 3 hours 24 minutes daily. That's the average time that you're looking at, right? That people are spending, all right? I think there are 7 things that magazine brands can do to definitively change the way they leverage social media and also truly experience the power of social media. One of them is to get out of the authoritative publishing mentality. Magazines are classically, print and traditional media has spoken to its audiences like the way I'm speaking to you, from a podium. But actually, social media is about this, coming to the level of your audience and speaking to them like that, right? That's what social media is, right? Equal to equal. Because you will also have only one Twitter handle, and so will your consumer or reader. And that Twitter handle is defined by the number of followers you have and how much they believe in what story you are telling them. So even with a 300 people follower base, if your reader is believed more than the publisher, the reader will travel faster, right? So having that in mind, what is the first way, right? Not just creation, but curation of content. One of the things magazine brands need to look at is how they can own a space and not just be a voice for their editorial. It's a different way of thinking, right? You need to have a view, you need to be able to engage people and discuss with them about issues, right? It could be a report which might be not published in your magazine, but if you don't have a view, if you don't engage users, essentially you are just a monologue bot for fans or followers on social media. And nobody wants to talk to a robot, right? People just want to press buttons, right? So that's the first one. So curation of content, you need to think this through deeper. It differs from industry to industry, magazine to magazine. Easier done for fashion magazines, tougher for more premium magazines who take too much pride in their content, right? But you have to figure out a balance. Next, content co-creation with readers. How can you involve your readers to create content together? It could be a section. It could be just the tweet of the day that you showcase, which was insightful, interesting in your industry. And a lot of newspapers are already starting to do this, right? But content co-creation with your readers, which involves them. This is a big opportunity, still very unexplored by magazines. And it really gets readers going and sharing, buying magazines. The third one is real-time responsiveness. So a lot of times, and this is also with traditional advertising, but we are in the mode of this issue and then another issue and so on and so forth. But there's a lot that happens in between, which is also relevant for a magazine, right? Which will probably get covered in the next issue. But what are you doing about it here and now when the real-time buzz is there? How are you leveraging that? That is the key. How are you engaging your audience? What real-time views you are sharing as a publisher? Now, this is where the challenge comes in, because it's not the classical editorial model. You are not going to be able to scan through the entire article or the content and then approve it and then proofread it and then put it up. You need to think more real-time, and that's what even marketers today are challenged with. Community, catalyzing community. Now, some of you, and I can take example, people who are targeting mothers, people who are targeting, equity traders, people who are targeting, these are very niche communities. They are bound by a purpose, by a common need. And it's possible for magazines today with the advent of social media to build a community around it, right? We've done this kind of work for our brands where for one of our corporate clients who is a chemical giant, we created a community around chemistry. We've created for one of our clients who's a pharma and healthcare player, a community for moms. So think about the communities that your magazines can power and should power, and look at catalyzing them. Influencing the influencers. It's important that you look at the influencers who are leading the blogging, social community space in your vertical, and look at how you can either reward them or make them part of your community and make them follow your brand as well. At some level, they are competitors, but honestly, in the digital world, everybody is a collaborator because everybody links to everybody else. So it makes no sense for you to not reach out to these influencers. The making of experience, and this is happening a lot more with at least the movie magazines or the film magazines, where the photo shoot behind the scenes are already published by the editor on Twitter. One of the examples is Filmfare, right? Jitesh Pillai usually publishes the behind the scenes, and he talks about in an excited manner of his next cover that's coming up, right? Very, very interesting stuff. So think about whether your vertical of magazine can showcase the making of, right? And it may be limited to some magazines, may not be limited to others, but you can figure out an interesting way of getting the consumer behind the scenes before the issue comes out and making it, interesting. I think the viral aspect of the cover page going before the magazine hits off stands is somewhat in this arena. Finally, monetizing social media. So we've seen some of the media houses that we work with leveraging their partnerships, which are on print and offline through events, on social media as well. It's also a channel and becoming a very important channel for marketers and advertisers. So if you can bundle it and monetize it, that's the last leg after you've had a great social media setup, right? For you to then give, you know, better content as well as better tie-ups with brands that you can leverage and showcase. So retail magazines can definitely have retail discounts happening and so on and so forth. Obviously, it needs more deeper thought as to how you position it, but it is an opportunity that's out there for your platforms.